there's certain things you can't script. They say reality stranger than fiction. CT and myself ending up on the same team, competing alongside each other, at this stage in our career is something that I don't think anyone could have predicted. You know what? Can we just pretend like that never happened?
I'm really excited that the season is Cutthroat, and I'm even more excited that you're back because you are the reason that the original Cutthroat is still so talked about to this day. What was your reaction when you found out that this season was going to be the return of Cutthroat?
I am a huge fan of nostalgia. I say this all the time. I mean, the challenge, I think some of the greatest seasons and the greatest years of the challenge were back in the day when we had those, kind of original challenge formats, the gauntlets, the infernos, the duel, cutthroat. It was kind of like the formats were just easy to understand and they were simple and it didn't rely on like pyrotechnics and all these crazy twists and turns and complicated votes and twist after twist after twist. And I think Cutthroat is a throwback, to one of those old school challenge seasons, back during like the School of Hard Knocks. And it's kind of giving fans, old fans, something that they missed. And it's kind of giving, new fans, kind of a taste of what the challenge used to be like. So I couldn't be more thrilled about them bringing back Cutthroat. Obviously, with Cutthroat comes, as you referenced, the most infamous elimination challenge clip of all time. Still one of the most viral moments ever. Unfortunately, I was on the wrong end of it. But I mean, listen, it was a moment. It was a part of history, and that's what I think makes the original Cutthroat season iconic, and that's what's making kind of the return of Cutthroat that much more exciting.
And especially the fact that we have both you and CT on the cast.
Yep.
I'm curious, did you
on
know
the same team? Yeah.
did you know
Yeah.
going into this season that it was going to be Cutthroat, or did you find out like when you got?
No, had no idea. We never really know. That's the one thing production's very good at doing is kind of keeping the theme a secret. We sometimes can read the tea leaves based on the cast. Sometimes you can put the pieces together, but no, this season we truly had absolutely no idea. And again, I just I'm because I've been saying this for a long time. It's like people just want a show that's just easy to understand. And if you're just a casual viewer and you're just somebody that's like putting the show on casually or listening to it kind of as background noise, and you're not a faithful viewer that is sitting there watching. I mean, some of these seasons recently have been so complicated to understand the voting process, and there's like a whole new language that they've come up with that you need to know. Now this season is just back to easy to understand, 3-team format, and it's kind of just may the best team win.
I think that that's something that we all are really excited about on the fan side. It allows you guys to then play inside the format a lot more than like trying to work within the complicated rules. Like it just allows for like better TV, I think.
It allows for more like fun and levity, and I think that's one of the things that the show's been lacking in recent seasons is that like. Obviously there's going to be a very intense physical, mental, strategic game always at play. But what I feel like has been lacking is like the ability for us to just like kind of get away from the game for a little bit, have fun, cut loose, and like enjoy the experience. And I think a lot of that in the past has had to do with the format, where when you constantly feel like your game is in jeopardy, or you're constantly living under this like umbrella of anxiety, not knowing like what's going to happen tomorrow, and even if you never have that moment of that feeling of like peace where you can just kind of like unwind and enjoy it. And this season, with the way the format is, and just with the how they scheduled the challenges and that sort of thing, like it left a lot more time for us to like enjoy the experience and to really have fun. You're going to get the drama regardless. You're going to get the fights. You're going to get the blow-ups. But I feel like what it's been lacking is, kind of that fun and excitement. And this season, really brought that back.
Oh, amazing. I love to hear that. You brought up you and CT being on the same team. Did you two talk about the potential to like either relive or recreate the Bananas backpack moment this season? Like, was that something that you were worried about or thinking about?
Listen, we spoke before the season actually on my podcast about us trying to once and for all, put this, 2 decades long rivalry behind us and finally work together. I mean, I've done it. I've managed to do it with, Jordan, Wes,
Yeah.
Devin, Paulie, all these people that I've had issues with in the past. CT's been the one though that we've never really been able to fully, kind of put our swords away and work together. So coming into this season, that was kind of the hope. Although after seeing episode 1, you see that kind of is yet to really is yet to really come to fruition. But I don't think either one of us is in the same place that we were back in the first Cutthroat. I mean, it's been a while, and I think. I think both of us would be very hard pressed to have that, elimination in those circumstances. I don't think either one of us would want to put our bodies through that again. So yeah, that was kind of one of those situations where, they managed to capture lightning in a bottle. And again, it's a kind of one of those moments that you're just never gonna really be able to recreate. So, and I'm fine with that. Let somebody else. Let somebody else do the back up off me backpack elimination. I'm good.
You've put in your time.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, hypothetical, if you and CT were strapped together like on this season, who do you think would come out on top this time?
That I'll tell you what, it would definitely not go down the way it went last time. But I mean, there's 0% chance I'm pulling that guy's massive 260-pound body anywhere. It would probably go to a stalemate starting off, and then who knows? We might just both, again, just give up in the sand because I don't think either one of us have the, the grit and determination that we used to. We're a couple of, grizzled old war dogs, so I think we both would rather point our swords in the direction of the younger guys that are trying to take our crowns.
What was your plan coming into the season in regards to some of the bridges that have burned in the past, like Cara, Michele, Tori, and Nerys?
Just to name a few. I mean, as you saw in episode 1, I guess I thought it was a good idea to just try and mend all of the bridges that I have burned all simultaneously. Didn't end up going to plan, as you could see, because I was, obviously voted into the first elimination by, kind of Tori and Michele. So I tried. I mean, listen, I knew coming into the season I was going to have a lot of people against me, which is kind of, just common theme for me every season. So I knew it was going to be a tough uphill battle right out of the gate. I mean, me and Cara have had, we've never really been able to work together. Obviously, me, Michele, and Tori are coming in after, kind of a pretty big fracture from season 40. Nerys doesn't like me for some reason. I still can't figure out why. It must be all the tweets I sent out about her, forced relationship with Horacio. But could be that. The guy that she held captive for over a year. But I don't know. So that was my thing is coming in. I'm just like, all right, let me just try and do the best I can to defuse as many of these bombs as possible. And I guess we're just gonna have to see if it worked out at all.
Speak to me a little bit more about that first deliberation, because first of all, can you talk to me about why Will was just considered safe? Like that didn't really come across in the episode that well.
Girl, your guess is as good as mine. Apparently, they've created, and I think they might talk about it in later episodes. They created an alliance called 41 Strong, which was basically all of the 41 cast members sticking together and working together. So Will was going to be off the table as it related to Sydney being in charge, her and Chris, but being in charge of who the male nominee was that was going to go in. So we knew already, unfortunately, based on the fact that Justin was captain and Will was off the table as far as who the other team was going to send in. So it came down to CT and I. Now, I knew it was going to be a difficult decision. While Tori, myself, and Michele haven't worked together on a show, we have outside of the show spent plenty of time together since 40, and we have, I think, in a lot of ways, kind of mended that fence. But what started out as, I think, a pretty, I think it was the best strategy for us to try and stalemate. That way we would just kind of leave the decision. I mean, in the interest of keeping the team morale high and not imploding right out of the gate, which I think a lot of the other teams expected us to because of all the past history and rivalries that we have on our squad. I think in the interest of trying to keep the team together, a stalemate was the safest option. That way nobody had to make a tough decision. And there's a scene that was actually deleted, which I'm really upset about. It was not my idea. The stalemate idea was actually proposed to me by Michele and Tori. And they basically said, listen, this is the plan. We're going to vote 3-3, you and CT, and then we're going to let TJ decide. Whether it's a coin toss or however it's decided, we're going to leave it in the hands of fate, and we think that's the fairest option, which I was 100% okay with. But I asked Michele, and again, this was all on camera, I asked Michele, I was like, okay, Michele, but let's say, hypothetically speaking, the vote then comes down to you to determine, are you going to say me or are you going to say CT? And she's like, Bananas, I would not say you. I will say CT.
Oh.
So then we go, and that's the reason I was so pissed, and they didn't show this either. I literally kick our entire team board over after because I was led to believe that we were going into this nomination. It was going to be fair. It was going to be impartial. We were going to let TJ determine it, which ended up happening. And then basically everything that they had just talked about and told me completely ended up being a smokescreen. And I found myself once again targeted right out of the gate. So, I was I disappointed? Yes. Was I shocked? No.
Mm. Wow. I'm kind of shocked that Michele said she would pick CT and then she immediately picks you. I do wish that we had footage. That would have made it even easier.
I am too, but I will say CT is very good at convincing people to basically do what he wants them to do. He used a little bit of past leverage from Spies, Lies, and Allies when he basically gifted Tori, prize money at the end. And he kind of used that as leverage in the nomination. Like, hey, how about the time I gave you that money? You should remember that. So he had a lot of tricks up his sleeve and things he was able to do to sway the vote in his direction, in his favor. And while obviously I was not thrilled about going into the first elimination, afterwards, obviously, I was happy. I went in, I won a very difficult elimination against a very tough competitor right out of the gate. And I think I really did put a stamp on, just kind of my legacy and what I'm able to do and what I'm still able to do. And I think I put, reminded people who I am and put the fear of God into a lot of people. So it was the best of a bad situation. Now I'm just hoping I go back to the team and, I've done my time. All right. Now I hope everybody else gets a turn before I potentially have to go back in.
So speaking of that, Michele was obviously sobbing after making that decision. And she said in her confessional, she doesn't think that she's going to be able to repair this relationship now. What are your thoughts on that? Is she right? Is that bridge fully burned now?
I mean, you're going to have to, only time will tell. You're going to have to watch to see how things transpire on our team. At this current juncture, on the show, on this episode and just where we're at in the game, it just seemed like because I was the first sacrificial lamb and the way that it went down, it seemed like the entire team, when push comes to shove, is going to lean CT's direction and not mine. I just felt like if this is going to be how it is, if this is an indicator of what the future is going to be, then like I really have no interest in coming back to this team, because it's just going to be me being sent in, kind of like it was on season 40 with Jenny and her team. Just kept, even though she was one of the probably the best player on her team, they just kept sending her in over and over, because usually once you're marked for death, that continues to happen. So listen, I don't want to leave it completely out of the realm of possibility for us to, like, you know, come to terms and bury the hatchet. But man, starting off in a real bad squad, a real bad place here. So we'll see how it all pans out.
And then you and CT, you're teammates, but you just had this deliberation argument. Like, what can you tease about whether or not we could see you work well together, or is it going to just be more fighting?
I mean, listen, if history is any indicator of the future, chances are, we're not going to, especially now with the way this went down, we're not going to be able to make any monumental changes to our relationship and our working relationship anytime soon. So I think what it's going to come down to, and what you're going to see, is it is basically going to just come down to the way the two of us play. We play two completely separate games, and the way we both strategize, and the way we both maneuver around the house, and the way we kind of, get people to either, vote with us or vote or vote against the other person. So there's going to be and hopefully they highlight it. I don't know, because obviously I haven't seen the episodes, but it is going to be a very, 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 and it is throughout it runs throughout. It's a thread that runs throughout the entire season. CT and myself being on the same team and trying to, through a series of different, I don't know, I wouldn't call it manipulation tactics, but just through different strategies, trying to get our team, because we knew as the numbers dwindled down, as the game went on, we're going to need every number that we can get. So it's basically going to be, showing the other team who is the most valuable asset as we move along in the game, and, trying to get them to protect one of us and not the other one. So that's going to be the push and pull you're going to see throughout the entire season.
Oh, I'm excited to see that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Literally what all
It's
the
gonna
fans
be
want.
it's gonna be very. I can't wait to see how it's portrayed. But it's gonna be pretty cool.
Talk to me a little bit more about the elimination, because you absolutely smoked Cedric in that. And I think that, like, nobody could have predicted how not close that race was, like, especially since he is such a fast runner. So how did you beat him so, like, deliberately and so quickly? And was it as quick as it appeared in the episode?
I think it lasted 90 seconds. The challenge was supposed to go on for 5 minutes. I knew going into that a 5-minute sprint is not something that was gonna. The longer that elimination went on, I feel like the more it was going to favor him, because then it was just going to come down to just endurance. And that kid's got a motor for days, and he's got 20 years on me. So I figured what I was going to have to do was just in the beginning come out and overwhelm him to such a degree that it was just going to demoralize him. And that's kind of what you see happen. I think out of the gate, he had a strategy, and I don't think that's actually not the case. I don't think he had a strategy. I think he went in and was just hitting random buttons and didn't have any plan of how he wanted to light them up. Whereas what my idea was let me if I can get 3 or 4 ahead of him right out of the gate and then just stay behind him, I was just thinking I will just keep that buffer and hopefully be able to build on it. But as you see, as the round went on, and as he realized that he was falling further and further behind, I think he started to panic. And when you watch, I mean, he's not even. You had to really hit these buttons properly in order to light them up. And he's like tapping the sides, the poles. I think some of them he already lit up his color, and then he lit them up my color. And I think that's what it was. I think what it all came down to was experience, and experience under pressure, and just kind of critical thinking in the moment, and not letting the moment get the best of you. And I think that's part of what happened. Cedric's a very smart kid. He's a military intelligence officer. So the fact that, like, he went in with all of his intangible assets that he has, his athleticism, his speed, his quickness, his intelligence, and I was able to really just put all-time major league ass whooping on him is just a testament to how much focus and experience triumphs in a lot of these games.
Yeah, absolutely. It was amazing. One of your like best performances, I think, in like the
I
past.
needed it. I needed that one too. After 41, after getting dog walked by Gabe in that tug of war, which is
Mhm.
obviously something that I had a snowball's chance in hell of winning anyways, just because of the physics of it and just how much bigger he is than me when it comes to something like that. But I mean, coming into a season like this, you have a lot of new faces. You have a lot of people who don't know you and don't know your reputation. They've heard of what you've done, but they haven't seen it firsthand. So I think going out there and winning that elimination right out of the gate, as one-sided as it was, I think reminded a lot of people what I'm capable of, showed a lot of people what I'm capable of, and most importantly, it reminded me of what I'm still able to do and bring to the table.
It was very impressive. But I gotta say, there was one person who didn't seem all that impressed. Lety was kind of shouting down some things from the
Yeah.
sidelines. What do you think she meant by that's bullshit? And how did you feel about that?
Yeah, I think the thing is, Letty comes from she was a D1 athlete. She's played sports her entire life. So I think when there's somebody that comes on the challenge that's never been on the show and comes from a strictly like X's and O's, like very cut and dry when it comes to sports, what's allowed and what's not, what's cheating, what's not cheating, what's a foul, what's not a foul, and you see a game like that where in her mind she was seeing Cedric touching these buttons and them not lighting up. What she didn't realize is he actually was not hitting them properly. So she just thought that like his weren't working. So she was trying to call out that the game was bullshit and the game wasn't fair. And my response to her was, you have not been here nearly long enough to start making these kinds of statements and throwing these types of assertions out. So I just think that she was upset that someone from her team went in and was going home. And I think, I don't know, maybe at that time she hadn't yet developed the feelings for me that apparently she does later on. Maybe that was part of it. Maybe it was, it's kind of like when you have a crush on someone and instead of being nice to them, you're mean to them. I think that might have been a little case of that as well.
How did we go from her yelling that's bullshit to now in episode 2? It seems like this showmance is really blossoming.
Girl, you tell me. I mean, talk about something coming out of left field and there being like a very, just a completely strange shift in dynamics and emotions. I think what really sealed the deal was we had an off day and we went to McDonald's. And the deal from production was we can get McDonald's, but we have to put it all on one card. So I ended up putting like basically everyone's McDonald's on my card, and I bought her 2 Happy Meals that had Uno cards in them. So I think that's what it was. The way to Letty's heart was through a Happy Meal and a deck of Uno cards.
Wow. The key to most women's heart, I think.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it all kind of started off. We had a night, we had this party night, and she needed to borrow my clothes because she wanted to be in costume. So I let her borrow my clothes, and then she left this really cute love note with the clothes when she returned them to me. That then turned into us, the guys, joking around and then sending a note back to her completely as a joke, and it said, "Do you like me as more than a friend? Yes, no, or maybe?" And she checked maybe. So once she checked the maybe, I was like, all right, now we're really gonna kick this into high gear. So we left a trail of flower petals leading all the way to the bubble bath that I had made for the 2 of us. And I'm like, if she follows this trail of flower petals into the bubble bath, then the deal is sealed. I had no idea she was gonna show up wearing her pajamas with the bikini over the top. That was a little strange, but she's a strange chick, so I think that's probably why we click so well, because we're both a little off. But you got to find someone. As they say, you got to find someone whose demons your demons play well with.
Yeah, matches your crazy.
Yeah.
Is this a showmance that could turn into something real off the show? Like, is this something?
Ooh, I
Is this?
guess we're gonna have. You know what? I guess we're gonna have to wait and find out.
It sounds like a lot of people were sick in these first two episodes. Like, I can hear
Yeah,
in people's voices, people mentioned
yeah.
they like coughed during the challenge because they were sick. So, like, what was going
I
on off
was
camera that we didn't
I,
see there?
Thailand, man. I mean, that's the problem is when a lot of times we go to like these. I mean, they call it like in Bali, they call it Bali belly, where our bodies just are not used to a lot of the whether it's the bacteria or the ingredients that they use in their food. So a lot of times there's like this adjustment period that everybody goes through, and what doesn't help it is the fact that we fly to this country. The flight's 18 hours. We get to the location. You don't really sleep much, and they put us in the house. Then we party for 3 straight days. So everyone's like immune systems and their ability to fight things off is completely shot. And then so whatever little germ or whatever is in the house, if one person gets it, it then spreads like wildfire. So that's kind of it. Generally happens every season. This season was especially bad though. And it wasn't just us. I mean, people on production, people on crew went down. So yeah, it was pretty bad this season. I mean, I eat all the catering. This season, I was like, after I got sick, I was like, I stuck to like chicken fingers and French fries for the rest of the season because I knew that was safe.
Sounds like a champion diet right there.
Yeah.
What can you tease about the mercenaries this season and how they're going to compare to mercenaries in the past?
Oh boy. I mean, you're gonna see a face you haven't seen in a long time and probably thought you would never see again. Uh, I personally was probably the most shocked. It's really hard to catch me with true shock and true surprise on my face. And when I see when I see this person when I was a mercenary, I was literally dumbfounded. You're gonna see a pretty surprising upset. And how do they compare to mercenaries in the past? I'd say there's a fair comparison with one, and I think the other one, I don't know. Maybe they got the title wrong because mercenary probably was not what it should have been titled. But you're going to see that for yourself. Yeah, it's if there was a time when you could go back and uncommit to doing something. Like you get a call for the show and you do it, and then you're like, you know what? Can we just pretend like that never happened? I think one of the mercenaries is going to wish that they, never accepted that call.
Ooh, brutal. Okay, I'm excited to see who that's going to be and what happens with that. What are you most excited for people to see, and what do you think is going to surprise fans about this season?
So I think one of the things that I'm most excited to see myself too is just how the game ends up playing out because there are so many twists and turns and there's so many unexpected things that happen this season that completely change the dynamic and the landscape of the entire season. And I'm just excited for fans to like really kind of see, especially the Orange team, this group of veterans that I think a lot of people discount because I mean, listen, you look at these other teams and they've got youth, they've got athleticism, they've got size on their side, and I think a lot of people looked at us and it's like, yeah, we've got a lot of wins on our side, we have experience, but I think this is going to be the true test and the true answer if when it comes to athleticism, when it comes to age, what wins out, experience or the youth and athleticism. So that's going to be a common theme running throughout the entire season. And I think what fans should really be tuned in for and excited about is, CT and myself on the same team. Are we able to work together? And if we can't, if one of us ends up leaving, who's that going to be? Why do they go? Or, if by by the grace of God, if we both make it to a final, is there some world where the two of us run a final together? So yeah, there's certain things you can't script. They say reality stranger than fiction. CT and myself ending up on the same team, competing, alongside each other at this stage in our career is something that I don't think anyone could have predicted.
Yeah. A hypothetical question. If the orange team, as it is at the beginning of the season, makes it all the way to the final with everyone, and you're the captain, are you taking the money or are you splitting with everyone?
It all depends on who's there. It all depends on who's standing next to me, and it all depends on how nice to me they've been for the rest of the season. But as of right now, man, you'd be hard pressed to give. I'd be hard pressed to split the money with any of them with the way that I've been treated up to this point. So if they want to prevent me from becoming captain and taking the money and running, they're gonna have to they got a lot of making up to do. But I mean, in order for me to become captain, I would have to be voted captain. And knowing my track record, knowing my history, what I've done in the past, I don't know if there's a person on my team that would want me in that position.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Bananas. It was so great to talk with you. Hopefully next time I talk with you is at the end of the final, crossing my fingers.
Wouldn't that be special? All right, well, enjoy the season. I can't wait to get your feedback on it, and it's going to be a good one. Of all the seasons we've done in a long time, this one's definitely one of my favorites. I'm really excited to see how it all plays out. Appreciate you, Sydney. Talk soon.